That's actually taken from what I saw when I was 13 in those museums. That's how they mounted these shards. I was introduced to the ancient art of mosaic in the cathedrals and museums in Western Europe, traveling with my family. I fell in love at that time with mosaic, and I thought to myself, there has to be a time in my life when I do this. It just so happened that my father was a ceramic tile contractor in the Portland area. After I finished school, I began to work for my father as an apprentice tile setter. I became a journeyman tile setter, and I worked for him for 13 years, and then I became a contractor. My specialty is mosaic now, and I've been doing that since 2001 when I went to Ravenna, Italy, and took a mosaic workshop under Luciana Noturni. From Luciana, I learned the basics of mosaic that everyone must learn, and then you can break the laws. I came home with a hardy and a hammer, which are the authentic tools in my suitcase. I started doing mosaic, and I haven't stopped. Gave me 4 right off the bat. When it comes to mosaic, I am a traditionalist. I love old world craft. There are forms of mosaic that have dated back to the Neolithic age, which is 3000 BC. It was pebbles and shells and bits of pottery that were pressed into mortar for flooring. It was one step above the earthen floor in that it was harder wearing and a little bit more waterproof. And the oldest known pebble mosaics that have been unearthed are in Mesopotamia. These were used basically in wealthy homes on floors. Not only did they take the place of the carpets, but they mimicked the carpet in design. So the mosaics would have borders just as the carpets had borders. And oftentimes the mosaics wouldn't even meet the edges of the wall, just like a rug wouldn't be as big as the room. The 3rd century BC, they began taking pebbles and stone and chipping it into little cubes. And this was called tessera. They were more able to create more intricate designs, and they had more color choices. It could be ground with pumice and then sealed with beeswax to bring out the color and to help keep it easier to use. The glass that I use is actually made in Mexico. It's very similar to the Italian smalti. The glass, when it's in its liquid form, is poured into a disc, and the Italians call it a pizza, and the Mexicans call it a tortilla. Basically, it's the same thing, but when the Italians pour it and then cut it, they take that and they turn it on its edge, and that edge of it has more undulation and more opportunity for reflection. I prefer the Mexican smalti. The Mexican smalti has variation within each piece. I have taken the skills that I learned as a tile contractor and created a method in my studio that allows me to actually create in my studio and then take the panels and go install. I can install on floors, ceilings, walls, exterior, interior. It could be in the swimming pool, it could be water features. You can wrap it around a pole. It's basically waterproof. Once it's installed, then it's grouted. Generally, I use natural gray grout, and that is because it's a very neutral grout and it spans all the color variation and it ages beautifully. Often my work is really tiny pieces, slivers, and to find something that would hold them safely that I could then install it without a problem, it took a little messing around. The fabric I use is crack suppression fabric that in the tile industry, it's like a slip sheet between a concrete floor and tile to keep a crack from going up from maybe in the cement. Thank you all so very much, and please come up and play around. These have glass cutting wheels on them, and you can actually cut almost any shape you want. It's almost like the glass has a grain, and you have a lot of control over the shape and how you cut it.
Oh, it's so easy.
Yeah, just as long as you keep the blades parallel, and you can then just cut And you can get pretty minute. These are 2 pieces in a series of pieces that I've done that have kind of a whimsical storytelling flair. The tightrope is how we walk through the world. The longer I do mosaic, the more intricate it is becoming. It's like little jewels, really. I just love it.